Yes.
Yeah. All right, dude. So first things first, we both have access. Oh, you know what? No, first things first, we got to do this properly. Welcome to the Debrief podcast. Everything Broken Arrow and RTS. That's the intro. If you would like to see previous videos, they're on the playlist. You'll find it below. We just had a discussion. We're going to no longer split channels because we had a few people saying like, "Where's episode number 2?" All right, so that was the last time we're going to do that. It'll all be on this channel in this playlist, and then we'll have something separate for Bolt's for Bolt's channel eventually. But for right now, if you guys are looking for debrief episodes, it'll be on that single playlist. So good to go there. If you guys are looking for our previous episodes, of which there are 3, go over stuff like our upbringing, what games we started with, what was our first RTS, what was our first FPS, what experience we have in gaming in general, along with our expectations for Infantry and Broken Arrow, and what was the other one? Oh, it was our expectations, our hype for the actual Special Forces Spec, which didn't end up coming up that week, so we had to basically push that a week there. But now we have the Special Forces deck, and now we have every single, of which there are 5 specs for the United States revealed for release, which is still in June. So if you guys aren't up to date, make sure you go check out. Did you end up posting anything about it? Did you have a video? On that?
No, I haven't actually posted anything about it, but I want to do a deep dive in the week.
Yeah. Oh shoot, maybe we'll talk about that later. Maybe we should post this on your channel then, because this is going to be a deep dive on the Special Forces. I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out later.
We'll see. Yeah.
This do be the debrief. Obviously, you've seen everything. Have you gone in depth, or did you? What's the extent of your knowledge on the Special Forces deck or spec?
I mean, just looking at the screenshots is badass, but I saw the stealth bombers, I saw the drones, I saw the Spec Ops infantry, so it seems like very, very heavy infantry focus with some light vehicles and good reconnaissance, stealth helicopters, stealth bombers, it's it feels like a really stealthy but also hard-hitting specializations, especially with the Raptor and the C-130 and the Nighthawk. Lots of stealth. And the B-2 Spirit, of course.
For sure.
Yeah, it's I'm quite excited about it.
This is definitely the best US support deck, in my opinion. But not in the traditional like support tab sense, because I actually don't think there's anything in the support tab. I'm pretty sure there won't be anything in the support tab itself for this spec.
No, I think it's gonna depend on someone with some support, like long range AA, for example.
100%. So, I think the lowdown on this in general is I think that this is going to be vital for at least one player on your team to have this. One player.
Yeah, for sure.
2 players at most.
Have you seen the loadout of the B2 Spirit? If you scroll almost to the bottom.
Now, what it's missing here is in the trailer, they showed Moabs when they do this clip right here. Those should be Moabs.
Yeah, the double.
Yeah. Well, also, I hope that there would be an option for you to just drop one. I don't know if you have to like quickly like turn it off real quick, like we used to do with the Nighthawk in Wargame. Speaking of, the Nighthawk is here too.
Oh, did they even split it? You mean?
Yeah, like if you got to like turn it off real quick.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe they're guided so that you just have to hit P once, and maybe that person hit P twice when they dropped it or something like that. But every single one of these units are a talking point on its own. So I think I'll do like let's just do like an overarching. Actually, no, that would be something we would do at the end. At the end, we'll talk about specifics of what you would do with it. But let's go through. We'll just in case you guys haven't seen, link in the description for the trailer. If you guys didn't know, U.S. Special Forces. It's not vehicle heavy. I'm pretty sure there won't be a vehicle tab. I'm pretty sure there won't be a support tab. But what there will be is plenty of transports between vehicles on the ground and helicopters, as well as planes, and basically just like fire support and stealth. Everything is either highly what would that be? I don't know, veteran units. Like these are all, special forces.
Yeah, specialized.
These are all, specialized, deadly. Everything is, there's better javelins, there's better stingers, even there's better grenade launchers, there's better sniper rifles. Hell, there's better rifles. There's 6.5 Creedmoor rifles with some of these guys. So what it's missing Of course, we've got the Raptor, we've got another F-35. Thank God we have that other F-35. But talk about. I've got a bone to pick with that one in particular, but can bring that one up later. But what you're missing here is genuine support. So there is no artillery that I've seen. There's not even like a mortar. So no artillery, no AA at all. So there's not even SHORAD. There's not even like you get Stinger, you get man pads, man portable Stingers, and you get Stingers as well as like AIM-9Xs on the Predators or the helicopters for a couple of those. But you do not get a single SAM system. So if you were to team this up with something like, what would that be? Marines, which is a pretty good option, and we'll talk about it later. You will not have a SAM. The Marines don't get a SAM. They get the lav ads and what? Where is it?
Do you get the SHORADs in that one? I kind of forgot. No, that's armored. Man, what do you get?
The armory's
What do we get,
up here. The armory's screwing up here a little bit. We'll go
Avengers
support.
Slam Rams.
You get Avengers. I think are that's airborne.
Oh, really?
So unfortunately, armory's messing up here. It's not showing me the support tab for USMC, but you do get the lav ads.
Yeah,
and I think that's
you get. I thought you could get Avengers, but I guess not. Okay.
No, that's airborne. So you just get the lav ads.
I mean, Marines should be good enough from what I remember for some close and mid range, but you might have to just depend on your F-22 with the AIM-260s and the AIM-120s.
Yeah, it's we'll go deck to deck at the end is like once we go unit to unit, but like as like an overarching thing. The weaknesses here are your actual on-ground anti-air capabilities.
Yeah, for sure.
And your armor.
You have no armor.
You have none.
It's all infantry. Push. Yeah, it's all infantry. It's all stealth bombing, stealth fighter. That is about it. And recon. You have some really good recon, of course, like drones, but also probably infantry.
Best. I would go. This is the best recon, easily.
Yeah. So you don't have any tanks. You probably don't have any long-range AA. You have no artillery support. I do wonder about logistics, though. If your logistics is screwed up as well, you do have that, the Osprey.
We do get the choppers. We get the Chinook, which is more survivable.
You might be able to shove a truck in the Osprey, and then have to do some ferrying.
These for sure.
Of supplies.
These little trucks down here, one of which has a autocannon, by the way.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You can get an autocannon with that, so I'm gonna try that one out.
If they can also carry some supplies, they might do it like some other specializations, like have them be able to carry a tiny bit of supplies, just to have some form of survivability on the field. Because if you do an airdrop of infantry in the back with like a stealth heli that already has almost no supply capacity left, you're kind of screwed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, these trucks, if you can put them in the Osprey and pop that down there.
I don't know if you'd be able to. Yeah, I don't know if you'd be able to put it in the Osprey, but I could see this carrying supplies. Like that was a big thing with it, is that it's bringing weapons, ammo, fuel, spare parts, etc. to the front line or along with them, kind of thing. So I think so again, just like a overarching kind of thing here. Weakness is anti-air capabilities on the ground and your pushing capability. So if too many people pick this spec, you're gonna lose because you still need to win the game on the ground.
Yeah.
It's extremely good, and for the United States, you need that Raptor. You need that F-35. And the capabilities that you get with the Apache Guardian and that stealth drone in particular, crazy. Also, you got the B2. Also, you got the support capability with this is insane. So, yeah, I think major strengths are the amount of AT, lots of javelins, lots of MAWs, and just lots of like ATGMs in general and sneaky stuff. And also that Guardian does get the JAGMs, which are better ATGMs. No Mavericks from the sky at all. Everything's like bombs and stuff like that. So very cool, very strong support deck, but it's not going to win the games on their own, which I think is an interesting aspect. So, and I think they do have the best reconnaissance, starting with these Rangers here.
Yeah.
So they do get the mods. They get pretty much, and this is going to be a recurring factor here. They get everything, a loadout of practically everything. They can be quiet, they can be up in your face, or they can be loud and pack a punch with the mods. And that's a recon. Absolutely crazy there. And hopefully they can be trucked around with these MAT-Vs, which have the javelins. So very strong there. I think the snipers, pretty much your bog standard snipers, you're probably going to do about the same that you would do with anything else.
M107, yeah. AT4s, that's pretty cool.
They do get the AT4s. That was the one takeaway that I saw too. So if you do want to hit something that's a bit thicker than just a bit of an armored vehicle, AT4 is going to help with that. But usually the 50 cals do a pretty good job. But you do have to be loud. So if you go suppressed, it's going to be easier for you to not get noticed if you want to go and snipe some supplies behind the lines and things like that. These Green Berets get the flash launcher, which I don't think is being used anymore. But,
flash incendiary rocket launcher, which is a big ass flashbang rocket.
No, it's like I think they called it a flamethrower. Don't they call it like some kind of flamethrower, or something like that?
Is it like the flash? Is it like the thing from Wargame basically? I'm
M202 flash launcher.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Okay, yeah, it's literally that. Yeah, it's what you would expect.
Yeah. No video of it being used. Sorry for the flashbang there with Wikipedia.
Right, I got the picture for you. Hold up.
Oh, send it. Bacon, we need you if you're listening. I don't think Bacon listens to these. You know who would probably do it though is Jack, except he wouldn't shut up. Which I know he listens. I know he listens.
He would just be a third person.
Yeah.
There you go. I found it. My man is on there.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
That's it. That's the one. Yeah.
Dude, there's so many times where it wants to save as an image. I think it's Alien. It's either Alien or Predator. Or it might be Predator. There's so many times where it'll be like it wants to save something as an image, and then I just push my finger across my keyboard that I literally just typed the exact same thing that I did the QWERTY. It was like just the top row. I actually did the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, where is it?
Green Berets, though.
Those are pretty nasty.
I wonder how they made these images.
So there's a little bit of AI. Some of the optics are a little weird, but
the one on the right looks good though. Like the soldier, I don't know, they look good, man.
It's solid.
That looks really good. Okay, how the guy in the front holds his gun. Okay, I mean it's a bit weird if you pay attention, but it looks pretty good. Like at first glance, I wouldn't say this is AI at all. You know what I mean?
Where is it?
They do some good stuff, man, with how they make these models. Yeah, okay.
There's a little something going on. There's a little something going on somewhere.
I guess they feed some like basic images of soldiers and guns and make it merge it somehow.
Yeah, maybe. It got the gist of it though.
Wait, go down. This is just kind of a sidestep, but go. Yeah, these guys, they're on fire. Okay.
They are on fire. Like you're way too. Look at that. Look at the munitions sitting there.
Yeah, they are on fire.
Why are you shouldn't be there.
You should go home.
That's true. I didn't think of it. I didn't actually realize that they should not be there. Yeah. They why did they think this was? Oh, you know what? Thermals. They were hiding from thermals. They'll get the shot off. Yeah, because they're obviously fighting a vehicle, so they're hiding from T-15 right now.
The dude on the left, his left leg is snapped in half at the shin, I think. That knee is going way off.
That's we're getting sidetracked. We're getting sidetracked.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Green Berets are really good. Just bring whatever you want. Surprising, pararescue. Pararescue, I mean, they're pararescue. They're supposed to rescue down pilots. And I know that combat controllers are a thing. Air Force combat controllers are a thing.
They got stingers as well.
Yeah, the fact that they gave, that's where I was, you definitely caught where I was going here. The fact that they gave people that are supposed to be rescuing down pilots stingers And not just Stingers, the best Stinger variant in the game is kind of cool. So you have a dilemma of what exactly you want to pick, and
Honestly, it feels like a deck you can use to quickly do an airdrop at some like contested crossroads, let's say. Because you can airdrop dudes, special forces with stingers, you can airdrop the rangers, you can have an AC 130 come in. Just hold it for the beginning until the armor and the mechanized and the AA comes in, you know?
yeah.
It kind of feels like that. Or you can do sneaky stuff from the flanks. But I think you can definitely be a pain in the ass with the openers, for sure. With the infantry that you have. Because think about it, if you do an airdrop, I mean, it doesn't really matter that you don't have any tanks in there. You know, if you just do the infantry airdrop, which might get a buff in general with economy or just effectiveness, I don't know. If you can drop in some vehicles with javelins on them, dude. You know what I mean?
100%. What I'm worried about is the cost.
Yeah, it'll probably be really costly, but they might counterbalance that with making dead infantry units take less of an income chunk, if that makes sense,
I'm hearing
until they
that a lot. I
respawn.
hope that's what they do.
Yeah, just to give it a bit more usefulness
Yeah.
or effectiveness, basically.
Yeah, this recon tab in general, I could see me grabbing a couple of these with the Stinger J's, a couple of these for the front line, and these Green Berets with what was I gonna do? Didn't they get a Moz? Maybe I was thinking of something else. Maybe I don't bring the Green Berets. I don't know. But something I'm more worried about though is being able to leave room for these. So definitely bring in the stealthy drone. So I want to see what's going on
Yeah,
with that. I want to see how far it can see and how far it can be seen, and
I've
how
never
much you
seen
can get
that
away with that.
drone.
You never seen this before?
RQ-170. No,
It's been in development. I don't know where they got the boobies. I don't know. I thought
let me see.
I thought I was used to seeing it be. Oh, you know what I'm thinking? I thought there was like a
Introduced,
naval drone.
yeah, introduced in 2007. Let me see here. It was operated by U.S. Air Force and CIA. Okay, okay.
Drone game strong with this deck.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically the stealth bomber, but turned into a small drone.
Yes. Does it
But they
say
only
it has
built 20 to
munitions?
30.
So probably two. It'll probably treat it
Yeah.
like the Global Hawk. There's probably going to be two. Um, I don't know. I'll leave that for later. I was going to mention there's some clear things that are going to make this spec team when teamed up with specific other specs that are going to make it like just bonkers powerful. In very unique situations. But yeah, so I think I would probably grab these with the Stinger J's, be behind the lines, be sneaky, and every once in a while you'll see a helicopter that you can take down with the Stinger J's, and they won't know that's a problem because they're sneaky. Presumably going to be 6-man team, so that's actually not a small team. That's a pretty big team. So you can do some
That's a pretty
damage.
big team.
Yeah. These guys can definitely be sneaky, and honestly, these guys are going to be frontline. I'll use these like I use my my Recon Bradleys from
Rangers,
Armored. Yeah, these are going to be frontline infantry as far as I'm concerned. Does it say how many? 6-man? Still on the smaller side for sure, but just they could definitely pack a punch. And sort of like what I do with, I mean, most things. The vehicles are going to be significant. I want to see how many of these I can get there as transports, whether they're just for, because it seems like the people that they're putting them with are snipers, so it seems like it's more of a recon role. But if I can
I
get
guess
as
so.
many of these grenade launchers with the javelins, like if you can get like 3 of these for every T-15 out there, the T-15 is no longer going to be an issue. They're just not. You can kind of rush them at them.
You just get up there, put your infantry in the corners, and just hold. You just hodl.
Hodl, dude. You just got to hodl. Predators, maybe, maybe not. I feel like the recon tab is going to be pretty packed. Probably the units that I would use the least would be the Reaper, the Green Berets, and then probably pararescue. I don't see me using this deck without the Sentinels. I don't see me using this deck without the Rangers, the Ranger Snipers, because I just always use something stealthy like that.
Right.
And we'll see what's going on with the Recon Rangers, because there's also some other stuff that you'd want to spend points on. So yeah, Recon tab, crazy. What do you think you're doing with the Recon tab with this?
I would play this defensive with the infantry, I think, and use the bombs. I'm gonna go full bomb. I'm gonna go full B2, drone B2, C-130, F-22.
Okay, Reaper.
Yeah, for sure. I think F-22. I just want air superiority with that thing while I'm stealthy, and then just see. I mean, depends how stealth works in the game, right? If I can just yeet the B2 there and not be detected,
Exactly.
unless they. It depends. So if it's easily detectable, it's worthless, and I'm probably gonna just have to go for ground infantry instead. So it kind of depends on that, but I think with these types of really good infantry units, with the javelin ATVs, I'm going to the crossroads that are highly contested, and I'm holding for my teammates until they get there with armor.
Yep.
I think that's how I would play it. Or if they all take the hot zones, I'm going flanks with the recon, and I'm just being recon support with the drones, and I'm being the sneaky infantry flanking guy.
Yeah.
I think those are our two main uses for this deck so far. But yeah, I don't know how the stealth is gonna work. If the if the Silent Hawk is like actually stealth, you can do some really fun things in the flanks, drop some infantry behind them. Same goes for the B2 if it's actually stealthy, like it is in real life, or the Nighthawk, both of them. And it depends how the F-22 works. If it can clap 6 planes in one run, like it should, sure, you can definitely clear the air for your B2, and then you'll just probably have to depend on a teammate or your other specialization for some anti-radar missions. But yeah, I think I would play it either rush for the hotspots and then wait for my teammate. So basically a cavalry deck kind of gameplay, or if they all take the hotspots in the middle, I'm flanking with my Spec Ops.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
If there was gonna be a deck that I use infantry, it'd be this one.
Mm-hmm.
Something interesting to look at here is where was the exact sentence? Where is it? Can clean buildings in seconds. Clean buildings of what though? Clean buildings of what? What are they fighting though? And how did they get there is what I'm wondering. So these Delta Force, yeah, it says equipped with CQC with suppressed weapons, shotguns, M32, that's the multiple grenade launcher, and flashbangs, they can clean buildings in seconds.
Damn.
But what I'm curious about is like what's in the building. what exactly? Because if it's 4 squads of what are they called?
The Specialny the Beretti.
The Giberturni Beretti, or even these guys.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen too much. That's not going to happen very quick.
Probably not going to be. You're probably going to be cleared.
Yeah. Hell, even the Marines, because there's only 7 of them? I thought there were more. These guys are 14. And they're nuts. Yeah, it depends on what's in the building. Also, I don't see any AT. A bit weird.
Yeah, this seems definitely more an anti-infantry kind of thing. I mean, you got the grenade launchers and flashbangs, so
yeah.
Fair. But
MO,
you'll have to couple them with Rangers, probably.
Yeah, their MO is not AT.
Yeah.
But guess what? Every fucking thing else is. Everything else has Moz. So Rangers, 9-man squads. That's pretty big. They've got the SMOZ for HE, and then they got the RAWs for AT. These guys, pretty damn strong. 9-man compared to 6-man. I could see the Recons being stronger, though.
I think if you couple this with Marine, there's just simply too much infantry to really even make use of it.
Yeah. I wanted to keep that towards the I want to keep that towards the end of like what actually would you type this in. Let's just go through that because these are the major things here. This is infantry that you can push up. They can deal. They can pack a punch, but along with what you were just saying there, there's only so many things that you can have in a tab, so it's probable that you'll find something else that you can put in there, especially with the other stuff that you have here. Like if you wanted something to do AT, you'd find something with a javelin or these guys. These are 6-man teams with 3 of the mods, of which are the exact same that the Marine Raiders used, which are very deadly, and they only would have 2 if you stacked them. But if you did stack them, and they used 2, they were very dangerous, like super, super dangerous. Those were genuinely something I would be afraid of with my T-15 or my tank pushes, because the first round would get eaten by the APS, yes, but the second round would go through because the APS doesn't shoot quick enough. So what a lot of people don't understand is the APS is not like a wall. It's a bullet that you shoot another bullet with, but there's a reload time associated with that. So you've only got 1 round, and then you got a couple seconds, and then you can shoot another one when it comes to the APS. If there's a quick follow-up shot, like you get with the Cornet M's, or you get with the Attackers, or in this case, what you're going to get with the Raws, or the Moz teams, because there's 3, the second, and in this case, third shot, are going to get through. And guess how many Moz shots it takes to kill a T-15 or pretty much any heavily armored vehicle in the game from the side or the back? 2. So if you get in range, this is technically going to one-shot anything in the game, because the first one will get eaten by the APS, the other 2 will go through. So extremely powerful, but 600-meter range. Just don't get seen before that, and you'll be good to go. Very powerful, very strong unit right there. Potentially my favorite infantry unit in the game right now, or as it stands. We'll see what Russia has with their 2 other specs. On that note, too, these guys get a better javelin. I didn't even know this existed. Did you see this?
I have no idea. Yeah, I've never heard of that one, to be honest.
Lightweight command launch unit. So this is an upgraded javelin. Longer engagement range, which is the shortcoming of the javelin in its current state. Is just the range isn't that good, but it is extremely dangerous.
What was the range again?
Of the jav?
1600 or something like that?
I want to say 12.
Yeah, 12 actually sounds more realistic.
It was 13. So you got 13.
Okay. So I'm guessing it's probably going to be like 16 to 1800,
most
likely.
Could be. What?
I mean, that would definitely make them much, much more useful. I wonder if some of those weapons, newer weapons, will also be given to other units as an option. Like if you, for example, combine, I don't know, Marines with Spec Ops, that will kind of make it difficult to balance. But let's say you do Marine and Spec Ops, you can put some weapons on the Marines that they usually won't have. Like the LWCLU, for example. But yeah, I don't know. Probably not gonna happen, but
that's a pie in the sky thing. I think for balance reasons they wouldn't do that. But guess who is gonna do it? Modders.
Yeah, probably.
Modders would end up doing that. So yeah, they got those. When it comes to the machine gun teams, I probably won't end up using those. But speaking of the better javelin, there's also the other Stinger J's. So the same thing that these pararescue get, these teams here could get them. But as usual with the broken arrow stuff, if you take one thing, you can't take another. So you only get one card of this unit. So you can either have the better javelin or the Stinger J's. And because you can get the Stinger J's somewhere else, chances are I'm probably going javelin if I ever use this.
Yep, probably.
This is interesting. Airburst automatic grenade launcher that can engage helicopters.
That's going to delete some stuff for sure.
Would definitely.
I mean, grenade launchers already delete infantry, so I wonder how they're going to be at helicopters. They'll probably stun them really quick.
See, that's the confusing part about this whole deck, right? Everything deletes infantry in this deck.
Yeah.
Everything does.
But it said if they don't move too fast. So there will be an aiming time probably that limits these grenade launchers.
Yeah, I would think if the helicopters are flying past them, it won't really hit too much. But if they're slow, or if they wait, or if they ambush, they'll fuck them up.
Maybe they're trying to land, to drop infantry.
True. I think that'll be its thing. So when you go through the infantry tab, the javelins, the Raws, and Delta Force. If I need to kill infantry, the Delta Force are going to go in, while the javelins and Raws, and then almost certainly vehicles from somewhere else or from the other part of the spec will cover,
Yeah.
and maybe the AGSs. But chances are, the way that I build my decks, the amount of infantry is going to be pretty low because I'll probably want the transports, like the infantry fighting vehicles that I would get from the other spec, to eat up those points rather than these infantry. And I'll probably keep them to support, even though these are super strong. So that's probably the way I'll do it. What are you thinking for the infantry tab?
I like my meaty infantry with some support units, but you have to go for the Rangers for sure. I think that's a given. You need some AT abilities. I think I would have the Delta Force more as a support, like backup, in case I see some Spetsnaz popping up, but I wouldn't put them on the front line. And I would couple them with either units with the grenade launchers or the flash napalm launchers.
Oh, the flat.
Yeah, whichever one that was again.
Green Berets.
Yeah, Green Berets. I think they're definitely anti-infantry, but you need some armor. So these guys, Rangers, grenade launchers, and Delta Force. In the sense that I hold the Delta Force and the grenade launchers in the back. Rangers and Green Berets hold the front, and then if I need to support them, grenade launchers and the Delta Force can kick in, try to clear it out, and then I fall back again. But
yeah,
you have to be quite. I think you have to be quite mobile with these units, taking into consideration that you don't really have anything against a big armored column or anything against the air or helicopter. Well, against helicopters you have some things, but
right. Now the big armored column thing, I can see an ambush working, but is that armored column going to be stupid enough to go into like an urban environment to let you ambush them is the thing. Because all they need to do is just push up a little bit of infantry or push up some probing units. They'll see that you have infantry there, and then they either won't go through or they'll shoot you from far enough away that you're not going to be able to engage. So if there's going to be an infantry tab that's going to destroy, like really, really destroy armor, is this one.
Yeah.
100% is this one. Although, are we missing anything from Strikers? Strikers, what do they have? Yeah, they've got infantry, but it's like, no, it's going to be that deck. Strikers are its own thing too, for sure.
Or more motorized.
Oh, for sure.
Motorized ambush kind of thing.
Yeah, and if you team these up, Strikers are going to be able to transport all this infantry. So not like the card, but if you just have the vehicle tab and you have the Strikers, you call in the Striker and then it'll do the thing where it comes up with the pop-up and then you can choose to bring the other infantry from the other spec with that because it's still a transport. So you can do that. You can't mix weapons like you were mentioning earlier, but you can mix transports. I used to have T-15s, carrying recon all the time. So that would be pretty handy. Not to mention Strikers are good for, like, they're supposed to be with Rangers anyway. So yeah, speaking of vehicles though, not too much. It's nothing that you really want to pay attention to or you really want to, worry about too much. The autocannon on this might be pretty good. They can be airdropped. They can be put into helicopters, the larger helicopters, except for this guy probably. This has a tow launcher, which would be pretty nice. And if it can bring supplies with it, it'd be pretty good too. Also has some interesting rocket systems, which I believe some of these can target helicopters. So that would be interesting, but pretty much just pushing past that because we're already, halfway through our time here. Little birds. Okay, you can put a sniper team on them. They're not going to have countermeasures. Pretty much it. Blackhawks, a bit more survivable. Some nicer gals, but generally speaking, still a Blackhawk. Silent Hawk, definitely with the stealth capabilities. Check to see what you can get away with going around on the sides and things like that. And you said you are going to use the Silent Hawk, right? For your transport?
Sorry, what's that again?
You said that you do want to use the Silent Hawk, because I don't know if I'm going to actually use it or not. I think that there's other ways that I can get done what I want to get done with the Silent Hawk.
I think it depends how the stealth is gonna work with these. If you fly low and slow across, just above the water on the flanks, I'm just wondering how easy are they to be detected. if they're as detectable as the current helicopters in the game, they're not really that useful. But if
Yeah, there's no way they are, but it's just but how
yeah,
much? But how much less detectable
yeah,
are
it
they?
really depends on that.
Yeah.
I like 2 or 3 betas ago, stealth was quite powerful. You could do that. You could land in the flanks with helicopters full of infantry. The latest beta that we played, that was much more difficult, but because people also kind of expected it. So yeah, it depends on how stealth capabilities work in the game, how survivable they are, how much if they actually have countermeasures. Maybe they have like jamming pods or something like that. I don't know. But I would love to use them. I would love to put some infantry behind there, like on the flanks and stuff, just because it's cool.
Yeah.
But that is about it, honestly. But they might also be really good just for frontline infantry dropping, because of their stealth. Maybe planes, like fighters, will have a harder time detecting them.
Yeah.
That could also already be good. They might not scramble their planes if they see we don't have any helicopters.
True. Maybe it'll goes by. That's a good point.
They might not do the air tags, or they might buy it, but they might not send it in. If
It
they
will
just keep
make
it
it
at a
in.
distance. Yeah.
Kind of thing. Whereas if you wanted to use like the Osprey, which is what I usually do if I want to rush infantry up, they'll definitely see that coming and they'll shoot at it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of getting shot at as a transport, though, this Chinook is supposed to be way more survivable, and it's got these gauss on the side of it too. The 4 gauss that could end up being pretty nasty for fire support, believe it or not. So the thing that I'm worried about is the cost of all of this. So
Yeah.
every single one of these are going to be associated with an infantry unit of some type, which are probably going to be pretty expensive as well. So whether these are transports for my recon, which are probably going to be expensive, and I want to make sure I can get my drones and my other stuff in there, or my infantry tab, which I'm going to want my vehicles with a deck with a spec like this, where you don't have armor. I'm gonna want
Mm-hmm.
my IFVs from whatever other spec I'm choosing to pair with this one. But if these helicopters are crazy expensive, which they probably are,
Yeah.
it's gonna take up a
Actually,
lot
that
of
might
room.
actually be too expensive to
Yeah,
risk.
it's gonna take up a lot of real estate. So I think what I'm gonna have to end up doing is these are very specific decks that I'm going to be creating. Like if I, if I basically choose, do I want to have an armored push with this, or do I want to hold ground and fight in the air? Because if it's a armored push, I'm not going to worry about the stealth. I'm not going to worry about or correction, if it's a defensive hold, I'm not going to worry about the stealth. I'm going to worry about getting up there quickly, spending the points elsewhere, like in the air, and with something from the other spec, which would be like AA or artillery, something like that, something that can hold. But I'm not going to need to continuously keep sneaking stuff in. I can probably put stuff up on the road, so I wouldn't use that. Would probably keep the Chinook because it's going to be able to hold a lot of supplies, and it'll be a bit survivable. But I'll have like one Chinook, and then if I want to do like an armored push, I want to see if I can get away with some recon around the sides and things like that, and then I'll bring the Silent Hawk. But it would be like one. It's not like the entire infantry tab is going to have a Silent Hawk for itself. So that's kind of
No,
what
I
I'm
think it's
thinking.
just for select units, for select missions.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you're just Chinooking or Ospreying.
yeah. But the options are fantastic. There's you can do whatever you want helicopter insertion wise with this, which is really cool. Now something with some teeth. This might be the most efficient helicopter in the game. This attack little bird, because in terms of its
Yeah,
price.
these could be so fun, dude.
Yeah. In terms of its
Killer egg.
price, yeah. If this ends up being like 100 points, 120 points, because it's not defensible. It's not. It has no countermeasures. But you got Hellfires. You got Hellfires. You got APKWS. This could be nasty. I think I'm gonna have a couple of these in my lineup, no matter what, if I'm using this spec, and then I'm gonna keep them with Hellfires and APKWS, and I'm gonna keep them behind my front line at all times, low. And then if something pops up, you pop them up, and then you don't really care too much if they did get killed, but they're gonna be able to snipe from far away with those anyway. That's what I'm thinking there. DAPS apparently super survivable. That's what the text was saying. So potentially very good attack helicopter there. And then, of course, you got the Comanche. Going back to the stealth conversation, how stealthy is it? Like, how
that's a
much
big
can it get
question.
away with is going to be a big one. These can carry... I mean, it's the same as, like, the DABs. You get Hellfires in there. You get, I'm assuming, APKWS, unguided rockets, so no. Hellfire and Stinger missiles. So you can't get APKWS, apparently, so it's probably going to be some Hydras. Radar can also be installed on top of the rotor to increase the detection range and see first, in addition to being seen last. That right there is, even though it's an attack helicopter, that's what I'm going to do it with. Like, that's what I'm going to be using it for. Put that radar on there. Keep it undetectable. Keep it, somewhere on the side of your line, behind it or whatever, and just see what's coming. And
I
then,
think that's a good idea.
yeah,
They will probably also be quite expensive.
for sure. And then really, really fucking punch him in the face with this thing. Yeah.
God damn.
Insane. Showstopper on this one, going to be the Jagums. Jagums are potentially the best ATGM in the game for helicopters once this comes in. Pull up the Jagum. What's the stats on the Jagum? I know it's newer. Jagum. U.S. Army-led program managed by blah, blah, blah that aims to provide an improved air-to-ground missile capability, replacing... Oh, it's going to replace the Hellfire.
Oh, it's going to replace it?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do we got? Jagum versus... Jagum range? Bro, what? The Joint Air-to-Ground Missile in its improved version, Jagum MR, have a range of 8 kilometers. That's not going to be to scale.
Probably not.
That's not good. That's no shot. There's no way. So
Yeah.
what do we got for... What is it? Is it 2,000 or like 2,100 for...
What,
Elmer?
regular Attackos? Oh, Elmer's?
Elmer's 2,000. They'll probably put it at 2,000. Maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, just to balance it.
They'll probably put it a little bit more. And then we've got the Catran with these guys.
I mean, that's a good range, yeah.
It's probably going to be 2,000. They'll probably put it at 2,000. But these things are top attack, and they're completely insane. The Jagums. So, nutty. And all of the points. Insanely expensive. Guaranteed insanely expensive. So, now you got to decide, do you load it up with those crazy weapon systems, or do you put a little bit, keep it cheap, and then keep it available?
Oh, yeah, I would do that.
I'm probably going that route.
Probably don't want to overload it. Unless, I mean, if you have a lot of AA in the front, then it would be okay to overload it. But otherwise, it's going to get... When it gets detected, people just crazy rush it with a plane. It'll probably die.
But then, hey, you could use that as your advantage.
You
like,
do get
you
a
can
plane,
bait
yeah.
it. You could just bait it. I did that a lot with my Mi-28s. Hell, my cheap Mi-28s or my cheap K-52s. They would think that these are 340 points or whatever they are when they're loaded up. I had them less than 200 points all the time. They're always less than 200, so pretty good bait. You lose a 450-point plane trying to go after a 200-point helicopter thinking it's a 350-point helicopter, but guess what? People did that all the time for some reason. Yeah, so running helicopters, you're gonna use some of these. It really comes down to the points and what I'm trying to do with that deck. I could see me consistently using the Comanche with the radar. Keep it as cheap as possible.
Get the better range too, yeah.
Yeah, I could see me getting a couple of these AH-6s with some APKWS and maybe a Hellfire or two. And then what's going to be really the significant fork in the road is whether or not I take a fully fuck you Guardian or like a as cheap as possible little bit of a Sniper Guardian. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure yet. It depends on what the HE values of those Jagums will be. Like if it takes 2, because they're top attack, and I'm assuming fire and forget. So if it takes like, let's say 2 to kill a heavy vehicle, I'll probably put 4 on it. And then by the time that, those 2 vehicles are dead. The probable 2 vehicles are dead. It's not going to be that big of a problem, so I'll just go back and rearm it because I'll probably have a front line established anyway. And maybe I can get a little bit more ballsier with it and not really care about it so much if it is cheaper. So that's probably what I'm going to do. What are you thinking for helicopters?
I mean, I kind of like to go. So I'm thinking with the DAP, you'll probably have miniguns and rocket pods. At least. Maybe some ATGMs on there. But I would use these mainly for infantry support, so miniguns, rocket pods. And I would have the little birds with Hellfires for sure, just to make as much use of the helicopter as I can. So because if you just kill one thing, you're already good, you know?
Yeah.
And the Apaches, load them up completely, because I like to be crazy with these. If there is an armored convoy, if there is some, T-14s that you just need to kill, you just pop these guys in and then just hope that your teammates have enough AA, or you have your F-22s out as well.
Yep.
And then the Comanche I would use like you did as well, like more of a defensive recon. Yeah, I would
Very
use that the
rarely
same
going to
way you would do.
attack, mostly just defend.
Yeah, just be there, just hold. But I would definitely load up the Apache. I love those things.
Yeah.
They've like every time I've used them, they've done really good too. Because if you just change the altitude, you go lower. Like you have to be in a spot with them that enables you to dive and hide if you do see a plane, or after you've shot down 3 or 4, or you've shot out 3 or 4 Hellfires, or like behind a building. You just dip down and you're good to go.
Yeah. And you can even get where was it?
Stingers.
Well, it said ECM, extra ECM protection. So I wouldn't even put stingers on this. I'd go extra ECM, and then
Yeah, just Hellfires and ECM.
you know what? I wonder if you could put stingers on the little bird.
Probably, honestly, you should be able to.
Yep, you can. You can put stingers on the little bird. And where the DAP is so survivable, you can put stingers on here too. All right, maybe okay. This is gonna. I'm gonna have a couple of decks here. Oh, and you can get stingers on the Comanche too. I think
Just have them stealth in the back. Yeah.
you can. Oh my god, dude! Everything gets stingers. Everything gets stingers,
It all has them.
bro. All right, I might. We'll mess around with that.
Mm.
AC-130. We dedicated an episode talking about this because we knew it was coming with well, not an entire episode, but we talked about it already, and everything has remained true. So there's actually 2 versions coming. There's the one that we all know and love, and then there's a newer one that has like some ATGMs and a different autocannon and stuff instead of the minigun. But it is the exact same situation where if you are fighting competent enemies with AA, you're not going to get to the front line. You're not going to kill anything. You are going to die. And that's just the reality. No matter how many flares or whatever you want to bring with this, that's just the reality. But guess what? I'm going to try my ass off. I am going to try, like, I'm dedicating a deck, maybe multiple decks, that it's going to be called AC-130 Go For It, or something like it's going to be just make the AC-130 work. I'm going to try.
Yeah, it has to work.
Because if it does work, you kill everything. Just everything. Because that's 105 millimeter, right? But it's top. You're coming from the top. You're going to be hitting down at vehicles. You kill everything. Even the Bofors, even the 40 millimeter Bofors will probably do the job. Low altitude dropping with the duck bill over here with the H. I don't think I'm going to use this. I don't really go for that kind of stuff. I just don't usually do it. And with the air tab being so plentiful with other things that are fancier and more to my liking, I assume I will never actually even have this in my deck. I'm going to be using other stuff.
Look at the schnoz on that thing.
Yeah. The schnoz is the duckbill, ground following radar or whatever that thing is. Although you can have up to 64. That's pretty crazy. Plenty of people are going to be trying. And then I'll be behind them trying to seed and kill the planes that are trying to kill it. The Nighthawk.
It also has cruise missiles. That's pretty cool.
The Nighthawk?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it is. So
that is actually pretty dope.
So what this literally, other than the AMRAAMs, this is an F-35B as far as I'm concerned from the last test.
Might even be better, dude.
Well, in terms of its usage,
Yeah.
I would think. So you don't get the AMRAMs, but you have the same payload, except you can get now 2,000 pounds. So it can carry two things 500, 1,000, 2,000 pound, assuming smart bombs. Yeah, smart bombs.
Mm-hmm.
JSOW and the JASSM. So same as the. Wait a minute. Could the F-35 get the JASSM? I don't think the
F-35. I think you.
it couldn't. It was the J. I was
We had
thinking of the
the
JSOW.
JSOWs. Yeah, we had JSOWs. Yeah.
So the JASSMs are actually better. The JASSMs are really good. That's what you would get with the EX.
Right.
Yeah, there they are. Oh. So these Nighthawks with their JASSMs, I could see it being somewhat cheap because they're not that good. It's not that much of a payload. You just call it in, call the JASSMs from far away, and then get out. You're never going to get shot down. It's never going to die.
You won't even be spotted. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than the JASSMs being seen that they're coming down because pretty much all cruise missiles work that way. Yeah. That's probably what I'm going to end up using it as.
I mean, I just want the B2 Spirit, man. That's
For
all I
sure.
want.
For sure. F-35A.
Though, so you get the Moabs pretty much now. Basically.
Yeah.
Will the Russians get the FOAB?
Okay, moving on. We got the F-35. That's not real, right? Is that real? Is that a real thing?
The father of all bombs?
Oh, okay.
It has to be real.
Okay, dude. This is actually. Wait.
Yeah, it exists.
Do they?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah. Avian Thermobaric Bomb of Increased Power, ATBIP, nicknamed Father of All Bombs, is a Russian-designed bomber-delivered thermobaric weapon. Okay. I mean, of course, they're gonna make a FOAB.
Well, actually, but this one, doesn't the U.S. Moab also mean something else?
I mean, Mother of All Bombs, but I don't know what else.
No, but I think they specifically. That's what it is. Massive Ordnance Air Blast Bomb. So that you could call it something else, but you know it's Moab.
Massive over ass blaster or something. I don't know.
Massive Ordnance Air Blast. That's what it is. Otherwise known as Moab, otherwise known as Mother of All Bombs, because it is. It just is. So, bit funny that they that's in the trailer.
Yeah.
Right there.
I mean that is that.
That's a Moab. Those are Moabs. 100%.
Yeah. Why two? Why drop two? It's one bunker, bro.
Yeah, true. Hopefully they're like laser guys, so you can just hit P once and it'll drop one.
Probably, yeah. I hope it's not a bomb drop. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Speaking of those bombs though, and the F-35, we actually get the second F-35. So F-35A.
Ooh, what do you get on that? Look at the loadout there. Yeah,
so you can have up to 6 AMRAMs. I don't see any mention of a Sidewinder, so I don't know if you get any Sidewinders. If you get the 6 AMRAMs and 2 Sidewinders, that's cool. That's gonna be very good. Now the 6 AMRAMs on their own though, very good. You get the 2,000 pound bombs. So this is in every way, shape, and form better than the F-35B because you get the 2 AMRAMs like before, but you can get 2 2,000 pounders instead of 2 1,000 pounders from the F-35B. Up to 8 Stormbreakers. I think before it was 6. It was 6. 2 JSOWs, which unless they changed, I'm probably not going to use. 2 Harms. So congratulations, United States. You now have something that you actually would use in a peer-to-peer, fight. you have an F-35
with actual feed.
Yes. Yeah. Welcome to the party there on that one. Unfortunately, only 2. And then again, the JASSMs. So you can also carry 2 JASSMs with this as well. Which I believe is the joint strike.
I mean, if you know that there's an AA piece there, you just fire the cruise missile and the seed. Like it's guaranteed kill. Well, almost guaranteed.
Depends.
That's kind of what I did with them, to be honest. Like just in case the seed doesn't go through or the cruise missile doesn't go through.
Right. So the whole guarantee stuff. This is definitely my department on the seed run side of things. The whole seed side of things is you need a lot of shots. 2 is not a lot. 2 will get intercepted. If you send one F-35A, here's the guarantee. If you send one F-35A at a competent enemy, it will do nothing. All you did is waste your time and points on those harm missiles. They're not going to get through. Those harm missiles are not going to get through. Now, what could get through is if you just say screw it and you send them in, and maybe it's stealthy enough to make it, like the F-35 could, but now you have more bombs. It does more damage.
Yeah.
That could be what happens. So something that could also be helpful is you do one harm, one 2,000 pounder, so that as you're going in, then it gets detected. As you go in, shoots the harm, so it's got something to worry about, something to shoot at. And then you just keep flying. Then it starts to engage the F-35 a little bit later than it would if it hadn't shot the harm, potentially. Drops the bomb anyway, gets a bunch of kills because it's a 2,000 pound as opposed to a 1,000, or at least kills the major AA, the SAM system or whatever you need. And then maybe gets out because of the stealthiness, like the F-35B could. So that's really what I'm seeing it as. But as we'll talk about here in a minute with like what you would actually want to team it up with, I think the benefit, the biggest benefit that you would get from this in particular is if you load it up with AMRAAMs and keep it super survivable and you fight in the air. Because we have now seen everything that you can get for the United States in the air, and it barely touches Russia, even though there's 2 more specs that we have left to see. Everything with wings, seemingly, it seems, like everything with wings over on Russia can carry the R-37, which is the long-range missile. You don't get it with this. You don't get it with the F-15s. You get it with one of the Super Hornets, not the Super Hornets, there's just a regular Hornet. And now you get the JATM. So we were correct. The Raptor is getting the JATM. And you can have up to 6 of them. If I'm getting that correct. Yeah, so 6 JATMs, 2 AIM-9Xs. So the best air-to-air capabilities that you're seeing from the United States is 6 from one plane, 6 of those long-range missiles from one plane, which none of Russia can beat. So luckily it is a lot. And what I'm assuming is you can get 2 of these Raptors. So if you tag team 2 Raptors, 6 JATMs, 2 F-35As, 6 AMRAAMs. JATMs fire off from a distance, probably survive. You get out, you save your points. F-35s get in there a bit closer and then do a bit of dogfighting. That might be extremely effective. But what you're doing none of is seed. So as long as you don't get drawn over their AA, or as long as you're not within range, which is going to be very difficult, or if you're working with a teammate to get the seed runs in, then it would be extremely powerful.
Yeah.
But you're probably working with just 2 of these. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think definitely just air superiority with these guys. Mainly.
And
that's what I would use them for, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you have to. I think for the sake of your team, you have to.
Yeah.
Is the way I see it.
I mean, so, yeah, it depends on the enemy team as well, right? So if they're all good, they have their radar microed and everything, don't even bother with seed. Otherwise, F-22s, F-35, just full-on long range, AIM 260s, AMRAAMs, just keep them there. Keep them there at all times. Dip up and down, just be air superiority. You're already contributing a lot to the team at that point. That's all you need to do with these guys, is just keep them around and load it up.
Yeah, I think that's the route I'm probably going to take.
Same, yeah.
And then I think we talked about the B2 enough, but blanket statement for me, B2, if the stealth actually works, then sure, you can get away with more than you would with the B1, and maybe it's a bit more survivable. But you're still over the front line against competent enemies. I think it still dies. And unfortunately, it is a gravity nuke. So you're going to have to be over the front line. So if you for some reason really want to, well, for one, waste probably, 1,600 points of your air tab, when all things considered, the bomb, which is going to be 1,000, and then what? This is probably going to be 600. It'd be 500, 600 for the B2, something close. So if you want to waste 1,600 points of your air tab with a deck that's so loaded with this, not to mention whatever other spec you're gonna pair it up with, then go for it. Go for it. But I think the most effective usage of this is going to be those Jasms again, and it's going to be very similar to the Nighthawk, where you call it in, make sure it's flying perpendicular to the map, not at the front line, flying a bit at an angle, fire off some Jasms, make sure you circle around, go again, fire off some Jasms. Chances are you don't get shot down. You might not even get seen. So I think that's what like the most effective thing is going to be. And then if you're doing a good job of keeping their AA busy and stuff like that, go for it. Go for the big boys, 16 2,000 pounders. That's going to be, and if they're laser guided, you pinpoint where those go, entire front line's gone. It can do that. If you don't have AA to deal with, it will eliminate the entire front line. 16 2,000 pound laser guided bombs.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Everything's dead.
That is nuts.
Everything.
That's a carpet bomb right there.
Oh yeah. That's oh, and not to mention the Moabs. I wonder what those are going to cost. Completely forgot about the Moabs. So and you can't put bombs on the Raptors as well. So if these are like insane stealth of everything here, the Raptor should have the best stealth in the game. So if it is basically a delete button, you do get those 1,000 pound bombs. You get 4 Stormbreakers, so maybe there's some room somewhere for the way that you build your deck that you can get away with that stuff too. So yeah, coming up, we're already past an hour here, so let's finish up with what are you going to pair the U.S. Special Forces with? What are you going to build first?
U.S. Special Forces and Striker. I wanna be fast and mobile with them. And it's probably gonna suck with in the armor department and the anti-air maybe, and maybe you also support. But it's gonna be cool though. Let's be honest.
I completely agree.
It's gonna be dope. It's just gonna be fun to play with them, I think. If you want to go, if I were to go, okay, I actually need like a good deck. I would couple them with, I mean, Marines is the obvious one.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Spec Ops.
Yeah, Spec Ops Striker or Spec Ops Marines. I think Spec Ops Armor is gonna be weird.
Explain.
But I think you'll have so many. Okay, you'll have a lot of armor, of course.
It'll be expensive. That's what will come to mind first.
Yeah,
everything is expensive.
So if you want to have the infantry, you can't really get much of the armor anyways, because that's going to just drain your income. So you kind of want to couple it with something that isn't that expensive. So I think that's why where the striker really comes in place, because you have some cannon ability, but it's not. You're not paying like 350 points for one tank, you know?
Yeah, Bookers.
Yep, got the Bookers. What would you do? What would you couple them with?
I have my avenue for everything. The one thing I want to explain to everybody that will listen to me is do not go Special Forces Airborne. You're gonna screw unless you really know what you're doing and you're in a Discord call with like 1 or 2 buddies. You're gonna screw yourself over. You don't have enough on the ground to like hold really anything. You're just gonna be flying around in the sky, which is fun, and you definitely can contribute. You can support your team by doing that. But if you're gonna play solo, you might end up screwing over your team because you don't have enough on the ground. And if you play somebody that knows how to really play, what's it called? Support of their own with like the S300s and stuff that you're going to be getting with Russia, you're going to have a bad day. It's going to be a bad day. So stay away from doing that. I know I won't be doing that anytime soon. You hit the nail on the head with me as well. I think that Special Forces Striker could be very strong. So something to remember for everybody too is the Strikers get APS. Every single one of these get APS. They've got really good autocannons. They've got really good fire support. They've got extra seatable stuff. They've got with the what's this thing called? The Phalanx. They've got the Phalanx. They've got excellent SHORAD. They've got a bit of SAM potential between the aims that you're going to be able to get in whatever the fuck this thing is, the MML. You've got Patriot Pack 3s and 3 SEs or whatever those things are. You've got support with supplies. You've got Bookers, which might have the 50, not might, they do have the 50 millimeter, which could be pretty good against most things, as well as a cannon. This is speedy, survivable, defensible transport for your infantry that you're going to be getting with the Special Forces deck, and potentially the best seed planes in the game with the F-16s. The specific,
Yeah, I agree.
and you're
That's a good one.
going to boost every single thing that is a strength for SF as well. You're going to boost the recon tab, you're going to boost the infantry tab, and you're going to boost the air tab while filling in the support tab, while there isn't any, and a vehicle tab.
Yeah.
I think that this is like
supplies too. Look at a big ass container in the back on the left there. Yeah.
Yep. I probably will end up only bringing like one truck and then mainly use my helicopters for supply if I was going to do this.
For sure.
But I think the biggest strength here is those F-16s, along with also you do get another fucking drone. I forgot about that too. You get another Predator, so extra recon to fulfill for the stealthy drone, the Predator, whatever this other Predator is, a Shadow or whatever it's called. F-16s boost the air tab, so more. Make sure you have the F-35s. Make sure you got the Raptor. Make sure you got an F-17, F-117 in the back there. Only thing it's not going to do is boost your helicopter tab, which these are pretty fancy, but still, you get pretty much everything else. F-16s are going to be able to do those seed runs, and they have Mavericks. So specific, oh shit moment, anti-tank, F-16s with Mavericks, everything else stealthy. You've got C going on with that. I think this is going to be the highest potential for like an amazing deck. I think this is the highest potential. Then we've got Marine, which I don't have a picture to show on screen, but I'll edit it in. Marine is the best all around. You now have all of the stealth capability that you can have as the United States because you've got both the F-35A and the F-35B at the same time. It's going to increase your air tab. You've got the Prowlers. What are they called? What are the seaplanes for the US?
Yeah, Prowlers.
Prowlers. So with the what's it called turned off, with the anti-overkill turned off, you can spam down their seed. And they're nice and cheap, so bring a couple of those. That'll help on the seed ends of things. You've got the telephone poles, AIM-174s. So less stealthy AIM-174s. So maybe you keep a couple of those Hornet Cs hovering around, and they'll think, okay, there's AIM-174s out there. There's something to watch out for. Next thing they know, they didn't see the Raptor out there with the JATMs. And then so bigger availability to snipe and really take out their air power. Extra helicopter tab because of the Marines. So more ability to bring out your cool helicopters. And on top of that, you can bring with the Marines their Sidewinder helicopters with the Vipers and the Super Cobras. Super deadly there.
Good point.
And you get the 2 Abrams. So you actually have some heavy armor to be able to push. So those are
that's all you need. You just need a door stopper.
Yeah. Those are like the biggest. Do you get one of these? Do you get one of the 270s?
I mean, I did say so.
You're only missing artillery here. That's of all of this stuff, you're only missing artillery. Actually, strikers get a little bit. You get a little something with this, but
what unit is that in the back? The big truck with the pods there.
That's the MML. That's the MML. That's a Patriot.
Yeah.
That's a Patriot.
Yeah. So yeah, you got good AA as well.
Yeah. What they do with the HIMARS? Where's the HIMARS?
Mainly armor, I guess.
Well, it's supposed to be Marine.
Maybe they just didn't reintroduce it.
Yeah, it might not be there anymore.
Because otherwise, they have too many units on the screen.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing there. Yeah, that's what I'll go. And then going down that route, obviously we've got armored left now. I love armored when it comes to the US side of things. I have that nailed. It's possible, or I think it's, I could be wrong here, someone correct me if I'm wrong. The Pack 2 Patriot is the longest range compared to what you're going to get with the Strikers, with the Pack 3s. So in terms of longest range SAM missiles for the United States, it's going to be armored because you get the PAC-2s, and that you still can defend them there because you have the PIVADs. So heavy armor to push, stealthy, strong infantry to hold.
Yeah.
And it could end up being pretty good. I just even with the lack of heavier armor from the striker and just less of it with the Marine, I think you can still get the job done when you take into account all of the other things. But for the same reason, I would say 2 people maximum use SF on your team. I would say if you don't have at least 2 people playing armored, you're also in a pretty bad spot as well as the United States. You need to be able to push heavy and take a punch on the ground, which the tanks are going to be what does that for you. And now that we've seen every single spec, sure, Marine gets a little bit, but it's all armored. It's you need to play armored if you want to really be able to take a punch on the ground. You need to play armored. You got your Bradleys, you got your tanks. That's what you need to do, and you got your PAC-2s.
Don't forget the AAVPs with the grenade launchers. You have that too now.
True.
If you combine them with the Marines.
Yeah, you could do that as well. So
those carry a lot. So you could actually put you can combine a lot of infantry in that one vehicle, just because of that.
Yeah, and definitely big time swapping. Also, a lot of these SF squads, like 7 people, they could fit in the back of Bradleys.
Yeah,
you can move them around with Bradleys just the same as you can with strikers, and they get their APS, and they get the cannons, and they get the tows. So way less air tab. No helicopter tab, no air tab, no support tab for armored. I forgot about that too. No, correction, there isn't no support tab, but it's like less. So it's not it doesn't work that well. You're gonna mainly probably be using helicopters. Yeah, what am I saying? Obviously you got these. Is that armored? Right. So you don't get a big truck as the US armored. I don't think.
True. That was the big weakness of that.
Yeah, you don't.
Now that I remember.
You get this, I think, is all. Yep, that's it. You get this little whatever the fuck this thing is. This little dinky thing. So you got to use helicopters.
It didn't drop that much, but it did its part, you know.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to use the whatever comes with SF, which is probably just helicopters. Maybe these guys will carry a little bit, but it's not what you're gonna want for like artillery. So you'll need to have some pretty significant supply depots in the back that are put there by helicopters. If you end up going that route. And SF Special Forces obviously is going to be powerful. The combination of the F-15EX, those Raptors, the F-35, the other, what's it called? F-15s that you're going to be able to have out there. Sure. But you just don't. You have nothing on the ground. You just don't. You got nothing. So anyway, oh dude, I completely forgot. You got the Harriers too, which are pretty cheap for Marines. So lots of Mavericks over there too. Yeah, that's what I would put it out there. I think the highest capability for success is with Striker, followed by Marine, followed by Armored. I don't suggest playing Airborne unless you're playing with people in a Discord call. That's that's my take on it. And any other changes you want to make? Anything else you want to add?
I think we've pretty much nailed everything here in terms of the new specialization and how to combine it, what the weaknesses are, strengths are. So we'll see how they tweak it. We'll just have to wait and see about the stealth. That is my biggest question. But
that's
other
the
than
question,
that,
isn't it?
It's going to be a good one. Yeah, that's the
the
biggest
question.
one for me.
What can we actually get away with? Yeah, what can we actually get away with that stealth? And luckily for you and me, we're not going to need to wait that much longer. Couple days here. Next week, we're going to be able to play. I'll try to get in as many as I possibly can. There's going to be some single player missions, and that's assuming we'll have access to these new specs, and it's not just a test of the multiplayer. Fingers crossed on that one. But even if it isn't the new specs, I wouldn't mind being able to play again, just to get some time in on the game and potentially help test some stuff. But a piece of me is thinking, because they're doing this with the content creators, they still have another beta on their mind, and I still think that it's likely that they do another one. They just don't want to say when, so that people aren't constantly on their back. And they did say they didn't want to stress out the devs by having that kind of a deadline before the release itself, but I could still see them doing the tests. So hopefully you guys, excuse me. Hopefully you guys don't need to wait.
God damn.
Longer.
Okay, relax now.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys don't need to wait much longer. But anyway, we will, if we can stream it, we'll stream it too. I'm assuming, right? If you have the ability to stream, do you think you're going to stream it?
I'll probably do more recordings than streamings.
Yeah.
But I did ask him, so I did ask him for clarification, and it is free to be published. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's no. That was also strange on this one. There was no embargo.
No embargo or anything.
Yeah, that was weird. They could talk about it. We could talk about it immediately.
So I'll probably have videos on it instead of streams because of how much time I have in the evenings.
Right. So probably everybody that is listening to me say this right now, either the day of or very soon after, because we'll probably post this at this rate. I'll probably post this tomorrow or Tuesday because I think we get access Tuesday. I think.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I'll post this tomorrow. So very soon after you're hearing this, we'll probably have access. I'll stream if I can, but I'll definitely be posting as well. And then of course we've got Bolt over there. Links to Bolt's channel as well as episode 2 where we talked about a lot of the Special Forces deck and our thoughts of what's coming in the game and things like that. On Bolt's channel, everything linked below. Next time, I think we gotta hit Russia. We gotta see what's going on with those last specs, of which we didn't hear anything. We don't even know when they're gonna reveal those, if at all. But
maybe
we got
just
a couple
to get a big overview as well before we dive into the game at the release.
For sure. But that's gonna do it for the debrief today, guys. Thank you very much for listening, and check out the last episodes below, and stay tuned for some new Broken Arrow gameplay this week on both of our channels, both found below as well. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a nice day. See you guys.